Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we are going to discuss one of another aspect of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan's personality. We are going to discuss him as a social reformer first, and then we will see his political accomplishments. Okay, now Sir Syed Ahmed Khan is a person which he will be always remembered in the history of the subcontinent as a reformer, because he not only because he tried to improve the life of the Muslims in every aspect of life, not only socially, economically, politically, religiously. He was a great person, and he worked very hard in every aspect of life for the Muslims. He wanted to improve their life. Okay, so he also opened orphan institution for the orphans, and as you know that the Muslims and the Hindus, they were living for many centuries, for so many centuries. So the Muslims also adopted so many Hindus customs in their daily life. And Sir Syed Ahmed Khan wanted to remove those illusions, those kind of acts which were not according to the Islam, like grave worshipping, like saint worshipping, these kind of things. Though from the time of Shah Waliullah, efforts were made to make the Muslims realize that they have adopted the wrong ways of life, or you can say the wrong customs from the Hindus. So with the help of his friends, with his writing, speeches and magazines and the newspapers, he launched a religious reform movement. And then in fact, he was succeeded in one thing, that he tried to change the way of the thinking of the people, how the people used to think. With the establishment of these modern educational institutions, he was successful in changing the mind of the people. So they should, and it was very, and these institutions were very helpful to spread his ideas about the life of the Muslims, and what are the wrongs and what should they do and what should they not do. Now he made a number of the people like-minded people, so they also accompanied him in this movement, in this social movement, or you can see this reform movements. Now he was also a person who his political movement, as you know that he used to work for the British government. So his political movement and for the Muslims, I must tell you one thing, though he was thinking that the only solution for the Muslims' problem is to get education and to be aside from the political scenario. So in fact, but his political how he worked for the Muslims to be united politically, that he tried his level best to eliminate the misunderstandings between the British and the Muslims. He wanted to remove all kind of confusion and the frustration the Muslims were facing at that time. So the nation, which was totally disappointed, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan showed them a way of the progress. And then, of course, we should not forget to discuss the offsprings of his movements: Maulvi Chirag Ali, Maulana Aziz Ahmed, Shibli Nomani, Syed Amir Ali, and many other writers. They are the offsprings of the Sir Syed Ahmed Khan's movement. their poetry, their prose, and they gave a new vision to the people. These people gave a new hope to the people who were very disappointed and frustrated. And then the role of the magazine Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq, of course, in fact, he, according to Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, the main basic aim behind this magazine Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq was to improve the religious thoughts of the Muslims at that time and to convert them into a new one. He wanted to give them a hope and understand and how to understand Islam and act there and to act according to the Islam. Now, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan and with some of his followers, Nawab Mohsin al-Mulk, Nawab Waqar al-Mulk, Maulvi Chirag Ali and Syed Muhammad, these people also wrote in Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq. But most of the articles were written by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. So of course he tried his level best to remove the doubts which were created by the British authors about the Muslims. So it is one of his great achievement. Now, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan's political accomplishment. Let me tell you one thing. A very interesting thing is that Sir Syed Ahmed Khan was in favor of the Hindu-Muslim unity in the beginning. But one of the main events in the history of the subcontinent, that was the Urdu-Hindi controversy in 1867. Some of the prominent people of the Banaras, they wanted Sanskrit to be the official language of the official language of the courts. So then Sir Syed Ahmed Khan realized that when a nation which is in the majority, they are not even accepting the language of the Muslims. Urdu is called the language of the Muslims, you know this thing, because it was flourished in the Mughal era. So Sir Syed Ahmed Khan realized one thing, and then he gave his famous two-nation theory, according to which that Hindus and Muslims are two separate nations. They cannot live together. It is said that Sir Syed Ahmed Khan presented it in a very clear statement that these two nations are totally different from each other. They cannot share anything. So their customs, their tradition, their religion, their language, each and everything is different. So same is the case that their political thoughts are also not the same. He also opposed Congress. I must tell you one thing. He also opposed Congress. So then we can see this two-nation theory, it provided a base for the movement of Pakistan, and it is the milestone for the Pakistan. Allama Iqbal address at Allahabad in 1930. Actually, for the very first time, Allama Muhammad Iqbal, he presented the thoughts of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan in a very clear way, and he demanded for a separate state for the Muslims on the territorial basis. So so it means that he gave strength to the Sir Syed Ahmed Khan concept that the Muslims and Hindus, they cannot live together, so the Muslims should have their own state. And then of course Lahore Resolution 1940, 23rd March 1940, they again demanded this thing from the British government, that Hindus and Muslims should have their own separate states. And then after the Lahore Resolution, after 7 years, the formation of Pakistan, we can see the formation of Pakistan. Pakistan came into being on 14 August 1947. So you can see that this two nation theory, when the Muslims realized this thing, that the Hindus or Muslims are completely different nations, they cannot live together. So it provided the base for ideology of Pakistan, and which shaped in the formation of Pakistan in 1947. Thank you.